GameMaker Studio version 2.3.8, or rather I should say version 2022.1, came to stable literally while I was scripting this video, and while I'll be making a video on that separately because there's a whole bunch of new interesting stuff, there's a change that warrants discussion on its own, and that is a change to the way bounding boxes are calculated. This affects collision at a fundamental level. Previously, bounding boxes were always rounded to integer positions that were exclusive at the far sides. That is to say, a 16 pixel square mask placed at an XY of 0, 0 will have the following bounding box coordinates: 0, 0, 15, 15. As you can see, the position 15, 15 does represent the bottom right pixel of the mask. However, it more technically represents the top left of that pixel, as 15.5, for example, would be halfway across that pixel. That's what is meant by an exclusive coordinate. This all works very well as long as you only move at integer positions, something I've always recommended across my tutorials for this reason. The moment you start scaling and rotating or moving at non-integer positions, you end up with a lot of situations where these masks are not precise enough, and you can easily end up with sprites rendering overlaps while no collision is detected. As of this new version, bounding boxes will be calculated using floats rather than integers, and will be inclusive of their far sides. So that same square mask will have the following bounding box coordinates: 0.0, 0.0, 16.0, 16.0. As you can see, each coordinate is a real number or float rather than an integer, as they can have decimal places. Also, the right and bottom edges are now inclusive of the full mask. This also means that bbox_right minus bbox_left is now equal to the true width of the mask. This has been done to better allow a mask to move and be transformed using non-integer values, and generally be more accurate and precise. However, this will cause some issues with old ways of checking for collisions when using bbox_right and bbox_down, as now when a mask is flush against another, the bbox_right value of the first mask is identical to the bbox_left value of the other mask. Apparently, a tolerance value is applied so that situations like this won't register a collision and will require a distinct overlap. It's sadly not entirely clear exactly what functions and checks this applies to at this stage, and I'll comment below if I get more clarification, but my guess is that this applies to checks like place meeting, collision events, and anything that directly compares one bounding box to another, rather than checking a distinct position. So you'll find collisions using most functions work the same unless they use bbox values as inputs. However, if you rely on position checks using bbox_right and bbox_down, you're likely to run into off by one problems where small gaps can appear in your collisions, such as if you follow my old slope collision tutorial. It's possible this could all change further, so be vigilant and read the release notes as they appear. If you're now panicking about how this affects your current project, do not worry. This version ships with a compatibility mode that you can enable in global game settings. I'm told this would be on by default in current projects, but I would check to be safe. This reverts the behavior by rounding the bbox positions and making them exclusive again, so if you're deep into a project, you can just use the old behavior. Going forwards, obviously I would try not to turn this on for every new project and would try to learn how to work with what should hopefully be more accurate and robust bounding boxes. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my work or find it helpful, you can support what I do over on Patreon using a link probably on your screen, definitely in the description. Cheers guys, catch you all next time.